The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
On 92.7 or 106 FM and DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA CIB, proud sponsor of the ABSA Africa Financial Markets Index 2025. And I'm starting tonight's show with the good news. Firstly, I'm Jane Dutton. Hello, I'm in for Stephen. South Africa's off the grey list, the global naughty corner for countries that don't do enough to stop money laundering and terror financing. It's about money, credibility, and whether the world still trusts us to play fair in global finance. After nearly 2 years under extra scrutiny, the Financial Action Task Force has wrapped up its meetings in Paris, and South Africa has been given the all clear. We'll unpack what this means for your money and the country's investment future. Then a small but powerful shift from Eskom. The utility has quietly dropped its costly rooftop solar sign-off rule for homeowners. What does that mean for energy independence and your pocket? After the markets, I'm going to be profiling Jonathan Fourie, the man behind Bus Cuisine, Cape Town's new luxury dining experience on wheels, where fine food meets city lights and rolling views. It's all about money, power, and something to whet your appetite right here on 702. Please give us a call. I'd love to hear your thoughts on any of these topics. 011-883-0702. You can speak to our guests as well. You could tweet or X us on @Radio702 or send us a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702. And I'm also on @Jane Dutton.
The Money Show on 702.
Monday to Friday, 6 to 8 p.m.
So, South Africa is off the Financial Action Task Force grey list. For 2 years, we've been under the microscope. It's dented confidence and investment flows. We've been accused of weak enforcement, dodgy compliance, and political interference. Now the FATF says we have cleaned up our act. Joining me is National Treasury's Ismail Momoniat and Rebecca Thompson, partner and head of investigations, compliance and ethics from Baker McKenzie, to discuss what this move actually changes, what it actually means for you and me. Ismail, let me start off with you. You put a lot of work into this. What is your response?
No, look, clearly South Africa after state capture, our institutions were weakened and we were grey listed. And let me say, it's a bit ironic here, Baker McKenzie, because they were one of the companies that were directly involved with weakening institutions like SARS. But because of all of that, we were grey listed. What FATF has found is that we've now managed to at least begin to tackle financial crimes and hold, I would say, companies like Baker McKenzie also accountable for what happened during state capture. But going forward, and let me be clear, it doesn't mean we've solved all our problems. All it means is that we've begun to deal with our problems, and we're going to have to continue to strengthen our institutions so that when the next mutual evaluation comes, which will be over the next 2 years, that we will not be grey listed again.
I mean, this must be one of the most...
The point is this, Jane. We must do this for our country, not for FATF, to make sure that we can rid our country of corruption, maximize delivery to our people, and get economic growth, investment and economic growth up.
I mean, from a reputational damage point of view, how bad has this been for us, and how quickly can we get back on track?
Well, look, it's obviously been really bad for us from a reputational perspective. It's been quite humiliating for the country. And we've had to slog for over 3 years now to make sure that we deal with the concerns that...
All right, we seem to have lost him for the moment. We'll try and bring him back up. But on the line as well is Rebecca Thompson. And Rebecca, I don't know if you were listening to him, but he was accusing your company of being one of the players that has brought some reputational damage onto the country, and it should be held accountable. What's your response to that?
So I wasn't called onto this show to be a spokesperson for my firm. Quite frankly, I'm not sure what Mr. Momoniat is on about. we certainly haven't been accused of anything, nor have we been hauled in front of inquiries such as the State Capture Commission. We've certainly acted for clients in a whole range of matters, but perhaps Mr. Momoniat and I can have a separate conversation on that. I honestly am not sure what he's on about. Be that as it may, I'm here to speak about South Africa's exit from the grey list.
All right. So, I mean, we talk about headline reforms, the legislation passed, frameworks upgraded, but how do we know that these aren't just box ticking? Where's the evidence of this?
So the fact that the FATF has removed us from the grey list in itself is evidence that they are satisfied that we've produced sufficient evidence to be removed from the grey list. But you must also bear in mind that it's not simply a matter of saying, okay, you're off the grey list, now go on your merry way. After the delisting, South Africa will transition from increased monitoring to regular follow-up process under the FATF's mutual evaluation cycle. So we'll be required to submit periodic follow-up reports to the FATF. We will have to continue to demonstrate sustained reforms in AML and CFT, which is counter financing of terrorism compliance, and continued enforcement of laws, investigations, and prosecutions.
How hard is that going to be? I mean, we've just been hearing over the last couple of weeks how corrupted we are in so many areas. Police,
Correct.
Judiciary, finance, I mean, you name it. How hard is it going to be to stay off the list?
So I think if there's a sustained effort, and I'm very mindful. I mean, I'm an eternal optimist when it comes to this country. I'm very mindful of the fact that everything that we hear in the news is typically bad news. So we continuously bombarded with the bad side of the story, whereas there is in fact a lot of good work being done both in state institutions and in the private sector to keep South Africa afloat, to improve our image in the marketplace, and to attract foreign direct investment. So it's not a simple task. Corruption is rife. I've just started reading the book about Babita Dekran's murder, which is quite enlightening, especially listening to the commission into the police at the moment as well. So corruption's obviously rife. Issues like money laundering continue to plague this country, but with sufficient will, which is required in both the public and private sectors, I think we can get there. I think we can. Well, we've already gotten there. I think we can continue to keep ourselves off the grey list, as long as that. I think if the will to do good and to attract foreign direct investment outweighs those individuals who seek only to enrich themselves, then I think we can stay there.
Okay, Rebecca Thompson, partner and head of investigations, compliance and ethics from Baker McKenzie. Thank you for that. We've got Ismail Momoniat back on the line. Rebecca says she has absolutely no idea what you're talking about, but has suggested that the two of you have a conversation off air and iron out the allegations that you threw at them. Let me just ask you, what does this mean for you and for me? What does it mean?
Ignorant, she should read the Nugent Commission's report, all the so-called Baker McKenzie investigations that were done by Bain, and none of those reports have been made public, and frankly, they were sham investigations. And this is just the issue. When we're dealing with grey listing, we've had to regulate legal firms as well, and they must not use client confidentiality to cover up for example, the capture of SARS. If they disclose fully. And that's why I'm just finding it ironic that companies like this are legitimized and have never come to the party to confess their full role in the capture of SARS, in protecting the crooked companies like Bain that captured SARS. I feel very strongly about it.
All right, we've lost Ismail again, and hopefully we'll be able to get him back, because it'll be good to get a little bit more details about what this actually means for you and for me. I mean, what impact will it have on on interest rates, on foreign direct investment, on the cost of borrowing. But, according to the FATF, the good news is that we seem to have ticked all the boxes, the requirements that were needed of us. And we've got to really clean up our act. It's going to be hard not to slide back off again because of the staggering number of players who are out there for their own good and not for the good of the country. And it'll be interesting to know as well, when a country is grey listed, what exactly happens behind the scenes to ordinary investors, to businesses and financial institutions here in South Africa. Ismail, we've got you back again. I just want to find out from you what this is going to mean for the man and the woman on the street. How are we going to be positively affected?
So look,
all right, Ismail, we're going to leave it there. That's National Treasury's Ismail Momo Niat talking about South Africa being removed off the grey list. That happened in about an hour and a half's time.
The Money Show Explainer.
Right, so Eskom has made it easier for homeowners to power up their own sunshine. The utility has scrapped the costly sign-off requirement for rooftop solar systems, a move that, it could speed up installations, it could cut red tape and give South Africans more control over their energy. It's a small step with big potential, both for the grid and for your wallet. Let's bring on Kevin Pillay, General Manager in Distribution at Eskom. A very good evening to you. What has Eskom changed? Why this exactly? And how big a deal is it for the homeowner?
Good evening, Jane. Good evening to the listeners. Thank you. So in essence, Eskom has relaxed the registration requirements to a certain degree, and that is on the back of wider industry consultation and a few tweaks we put into the sign-off process. So we previously had what was perceived as an onerous registration requirement, and we had that in place for many reasons, and we then sort of compartmentalized the requirement to a less onerous requirement specifically for residential installations.
I mean, this sign-off rule cost thousands and slowed installations, as you were saying, for months. Why did it take Eskom this long, though, to drop it?
I think, firstly, Eskom is a utility. It doesn't have unilateral decision-making abilities. We are bound to ensure that we are very clear in terms of adherence to regulations, to legislation, etc. So there were several regulations and legislation requirements that were guiding our requirement, one. Two, that noted that a lot of these were compiled or came into being during sort of the first generation of inverters that entered into South Africa, and those were legacy systems. So there were a lot of safety requirements inbuilt on the registration requirements. And now that we have a better presence of more modern inverters, etc., we then sought to put in a few control points in terms of type test certificates, etc. So should that inverter meet the requirement, then you enjoy this now less onerous option to have your installation signed off now by an accredited either master electrician or installation electrician registered with the Department of Labour.
I can hear thousands of people saying, hurrah, finally. Is it also a case that Eskom realizes that it just can't police rooftop solar anymore?
I don't think that was ever our intent. I think maybe what we should note is that any homeowner, any installation is free or has the liberty to install whatever system they want at their premises. And they are duty bound in terms of the regulations of South Africa to ensure that system is safe for the house. So that certificate of compliance, etc. And Eskom never intended to encroach on that liberty that's available to the homeowner or premise owner. However, when a system seeks to enter the grid, we are duty-bound to ensure that it doesn't impose risk to the grid or any other participant on the grid. That means your neighbor or a worker on the system, etc. And we needed to ensure that we play out that requirement and not just whittle it down to just a basic requirement for a single installation not connected to a grid. So we have been as responsible as we can be to protect the larger community and the grid.
Now, I mean, we know that Eskom has lost millions in potential revenue from people going solar. How will it manage that, I should imagine, growing financial gap?
Yeah, look, so I think it's, and this is a much contested question, but the long and short is that the cost to serve the residential sector there's always been some sort of imbalance between what it costs to serve versus the tariff, etc., albeit that the price of electricity is going up. But I mean, the cost of providing that service is also going up. So in terms of the way we are looking at the revenue side, none of our rules or registration requirements, etc., are looking at or are in place to close the gap from a revenue perspective. That's never the reason. What we are doing is we are rather positioning the grid as an open grid to anyone that wants to enter the grid, whether it is an IPP that can utilize the grid to move energy from A to B, or even a homeowner with an installation that can put in excess units onto the grid. They too have access to the grid to move that energy to other off-takers, and we are working towards reimbursing them for that. So what it means is that we separate energy and energy costs from costs associated with utilizing the grid. So therefore, if you are earning a return on the energy that you're putting on the grid, you then need to pay that fee to utilize the grid to enjoy that benefit. So in our grand strategy, we are repositioning the grid to provide grid services and allow more players, including households,
To feed
to have this ability.
Power back into the grid, right? Is that the ultimate aim?
Correct. Yes.
So just confirming that homeowners already running on solar, they don't need to reapply, reconnect, or we can just carry on as before?
No. So there's still duty upon the homeowner. So first thing, you've got to ensure that you get a valid certificate of compliance for your installation, which includes your grid supply to your house, the DV and the wiring to the rest of the house, and the embedded generation, which is your PV system, all encompassed in the certificate of compliance. Now, who does this for you? We've relaxed that. Previously, we enforced a professionally registered engineer with EXA. Now that we've built in the control point to say, okay, if you can get an installation electrician or a master electrician, which should come with lower fees, registered with the Department of Labor that can give us a type test certificate and meet the EGI installation test report, then that would be admissible in terms of registering that system.
Thank you for your time. Kevin Pillay, General Manager in Distribution at Eskom.
The Money Show.
The markets.
Let's talk to CIO at Benguela Global Fund Managers, Zwelakhe Nguni. And quite a day, right? I mean, how wonderful to start the weekend knowing that we're off the grey list. It seems that the rand is holding relatively steady. Do you think this was already priced in, such a risk?
Good evening, Jane and your listeners. Certainly, I don't think it was fully priced in. I don't think the full benefits have come through. I think, as you know, that the grey listing does impact the country quite significantly, particularly in the banking sector where you have high compliance costs and you're also having delays in cross-border transaction. But I think at the government level, you also seen that the cost of funding becomes higher and your FDI investment becomes quite hindered. So this would basically mean that some of those impediments would be taken away, and we should see a slight improvement in the economic performance. And I think if one looks at the precedents from other countries like the Philippines, Turkey, there was a meaningful improvement in the economic performance post the change. So I think there may be positive surprises, both in terms of the cost of capital to the government and the country, but also there may be people who are willing to invest in the country as a result of this. Okay,
that is very needed, absolutely. And let's talk about the roller coaster week for gold and the outlook there.
Yeah, I think we've seen that the gold price has pulled back quite sharply and significantly as well. So, and we are seeing that leaching into our market through the gold stocks. And the big question now becomes whether from where we are, is gold going to at least hold up above 4,000, or are we going to see it continue to rally or break down? So the expectation is that it would hold up. I mean, we've seen some of the big brokers. Some are calling for 4,900 by the end of the year. We think that the key drivers, this whole tariff trade tariff battles, do affect the confidence of markets and in terms of the outlook for the economy. But you also have in central banks that are buying gold instead of the dollar and U.S. Treasury. So that is a factor that would affect, those two factors would affect the long-term outlook. But in the short term, we might see a bit of volatility, but I think long term, we might see continued momentum. But the gold stocks are actually under quite a bit of pressure because the market has seen quite a big rally and they thinking that it's time to take profits.
Okay, so we like it. Nguni, thank you for your time.
The Money Show.
The Friday File.
The Friday File.
Well, and on the Friday File with me, Jane Dutton, a taste of motion, Cape Town's Bus Cuisine revolution. Going to be talking to Jonathan Fourie about Bus Cuisine. It's Cape Town's groundbreaking luxury dining experience on wheels where gourmet meals meet breathtaking views and unforgettable journeys through the heart of the city. Jonathan, welcome on to the show.
Hi, Jane. Thank you so much. Thank you for the invite. Looking forward to talking a little bit about our concept and what we're doing.
I mean, when you first pitched it, did everyone think you were a bit crazy or a bit brilliant? I mean, what business opportunity were you solving?
I think, firstly, when it was a concept that's actually overseas, one or two European countries, but it was never being done in South Africa, and we just thought, yes, we've got to do it, we've got to try it, and we worked a year and a half up and forth building, and at some stage worried about, is it going to work, isn't it going to work, but so glad that we went through. It's taken off in Cape Town, and I must say, for us to bring Bus Cuisine as South Africa's first mobile upmarket double-decker restaurant to South Africa, delivering a one-of-a-kind dining experience was so great, and the Cape Townians and the people here has taken to it and enjoying what we're doing. And we're very excited about the journey, the growth, the new buses coming, and very excited about the way forward and what's lying ahead of us.
So just paint a picture for us. Do you move while people are eating? Is the bus static while you're enjoying your wonderful cuisine? And how do you get in there?
No, it's a double-decker, upmarket double-decker luxury bus. So on the top section, we've got 34 seats, upmarket, soft aircon, music, upmarket, that we prepare meals. The bottom section is where we prepare our food and obviously our bathrooms. So we give a full 5-course lunch, wine pairing, 2.5-hour trip, and a 6-course dinner trip with wine pairing. So we leave typically the V&A waterfront. We do the Atlantic seaboard, Camps Bay. We go through to 12 Apostles to Hout Bay and come back. You've got that scenic mountain on the left side, a sea on the right, and elevated views, and it's just an amazing experience. It's a wine pairing with award-winning wine farms. The food is some of the best that I believe that you can get, and we're just giving the people actually a nice tour as well as a nice meal and gourmet experience that you cannot have somewhere else.
I love the idea of it. I mean, it's what a fantastic idea, and finding something that hasn't been done here before. I mean, but you are launching into a fragile economy, right? I mean, you've got high fuel costs, you've got rising food prices. How do you work that in?
I think the big thing for us is when we priced what we were doing and compared to what they're doing overseas, we wanted to try and make sure that it wasn't a bucket list. It was a type of pricing that the locals could afford. We're not that set about the international market. The national market is fine, but we wanted to price and get into a place where the locals can enjoy it. Birthday. We've got a lot of birthday celebrations, anniversaries. So I believe looking at the trip and the food and the offering of what we do is we price right. And because of that, that's why we're getting the success and the high volumes and the full buses that we're currently getting. So, it's important
Smart.
for us to look after the locals. And
because I think people, particularly in Cape Town, are frustrated at just being priced out of everything from homes to restaurants.
Very true.
So what do you charge?
If looking at the lunch option, we're looking at 1,350. Now that is a 2.5-hour trip. That's 5 courses, and that's your wine pairing, so you can have your wine throughout the trip with your mocktails, your beverages, and it's a 2.5-hour luxury trip that you do. And I can challenge you to go to a restaurant, do a starter, main, and a dessert with your wines and see where you get. So we're trying to get to where there is. And the evenings we do a 6-7 course dinner, and as well with your wine pairing. And I mean, if you look at our food, you're getting your fish, you're getting your, and we were trying to make sure we also incorporate our local produce. So it's your king clips and your braised lambs. But I promise you, it's experience worthwhile, and it's not overpriced. We've done this as well. It's for our locals, and our international clients. It's just bonus for us.
Well, I'm definitely coming next coming Cape Town. Okay, how did you finance it? Was it personal capital, angel investors? How did it work?
No, the first one is personal capital. I think there was a matter of risk in this whole thing, so I don't think a lot of other people would have invested, because it's a first for South Africa. It's a first that we're doing. So I think there was risk. So we always knew we would have to do it ourselves. But we believed in the concept. I mean, we from Pretoria, and we believed, we built it that site. We brought it to the site because the concept we believed was good enough that it would carry. And I think the big thing is, unlike traditional restaurants, Bus Cuisine is not confined by location or foot traffic. It's mobility, adaptability, and multisensory value sets it apart from anything else. So we've got a restaurant taking people out. They can see the views. They're still having their restaurant experience. And so we're giving them a tour and a restaurant experience. And we always knew it would definitely work. And that's why we're so excited. That's why our next 2 buses is up and running by the end of November, and we're going to expand, and we're going to do different food offerings. We're going to give people different options, and just make sure that we utilize what we've got and give the people of Cape Town and our international tourists one of the best experiences they can. I mean, Cape Town is one of the world's top touring city, and I think it was due for something bold like Bus Cuisine.
And I mean, you answered my question, if the model is scalable. I mean, could we see your Bus Cuisine here in Joburg, in Durban, or even a wine route edition?
No, definitely. I think for us it's important to protect the brand in the sense that we do not outgrow what we're doing, is to make sure what we do that the model works, that we keep the essence of what we're doing. So definitely we're scaling. We're doing 3 in Cape Town. We're going to the winelands. We're going to the garden route. We're looking at different options for Pretoria and Joburg. So definitely, currently we're going to have 3. We're doing another 2 early next year, and we're looking at about 10, 15, and then as well doing partnerships maybe with hotels that take this opportunity with us. So no, definitely we're going to take it, and I think being from Pretoria, Joburg as well, we've got an idea where and how we want to do it. So watch the space; it's on its way.
and yes, so obviously it makes sense. You touched on as well that you'd be collaborating with hotels, possibly Cape Town tourism to package the experience, and then I guess there are a lot of players who'll benefit from this ecosystem.
I agree, and Jane, the big thing is we're not competing in other restaurants, and they're doing what they're doing. I think we're just bringing something new, something fresh. So we are collaborating already with a few hotels. We're getting a lot of requests from tour companies that want to sell this already to the overseas market, as well as your cruise ships and that. So they see the value because you've got the tour on the one side and the food on the other side, and it actually marries and works so well together. So no, we're getting a lot of requests, and I think we've got a model that I don't want to elaborate now on how we're going to involve hotels and also to give their service offering to their hotels guests something just to the next level. So it's still something evolving. It's still something we're working with, but I must say the adoption and what's happened has surprised us. I mean, within the first month, we had 5 million views on different social media platforms, 1.5 million on TikTok.
Wow.
So everybody was so excited about the concept. So it made our marketing efforts very easy.
It's something that's, I'm excited about it. It's just, I think you can see it, and it's so clever. It's so smart. I mean, a friend of mine, she started hot huts in Cape Town, and those are mobile saunas. And I know that the compliance and, cutting through the red tape and all of that was a bit of a headache. Was it a problem for you?
It was definitely, but I must say, the only reason it was a bit difficult is because I didn't understand what we were doing, and it was something new. It's easy when you've got references. So it was something new, but I must say, Cape Town and the local government saw the potential, and they assisted us as far as possible to make this work and to make sure we do get all the compliances. But being a tourism city, it made it very easy, as they were also eager and making sure that it would work. So we thought it might be a little bit more difficult. I think we got a lot of assistance from the Western Cape government and the local authorities, and we assume and hope that would be the same once we expand and bring it down to Gauteng and those places.
And obviously social media plays a big role here for you.
Yes, definitely. But it's definitely social media, Instagrams and all those is big. But the nice thing is everybody's sharing the experience. It's one of those things. Everybody goes on. We've got engagements on the bus, anniversaries, 40-50%. Somebody is celebrating something on the bus, either a birthday, anniversary, like I said, engagement party. We're also getting a lot of group functions and groups coming on, corporate companies doing their year-end functions and doing a lot of functions on the bus as well.
Okay, so if somebody wants to book, somebody wants to book it all out, if they want to book one seat, what should they do?
I think they must just go to our website. It's www.buscuisine.co.za. They can book online for the guys or the guests that just want to do 2 or 3. The bigger groups can just obviously mail us to info@Bus Cuisine, and we assist them through the whole process.
Jonathan Fourie, wonderful talking to you about Bus Cuisine, and I wish you all the success.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated, Jane. Thank you for the opportunity, and hope we'll see you soon here.
Oh, yeah.
The Money Show on 702.
Monday to Friday, 6 to 8 p.m.
So it is time for the Friday Blitz Biz. And I'm going to be asking you a question, and if you answer it, I'll keep asking you questions. If you don't get it right, we'll get the next person on the line. And the first question is, which international body sets global standards to combat money laundering, terrorist financing, and the financing of weapons proliferation? It has just removed South Africa from the grey list. Let me remind you of our number, 011-883-0702. You can also WhatsApp your answers on 072-702-1702, but we'd rather speak to you on the line.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by Absa CIB, proud sponsor of the Absa Africa Financial Markets Index 2025.
The Money Show, Friday Biz Blitz.
And I asked the question, which international body sets global standards to combat money laundering, terrorist financing, and the financing of weapons proliferation? Mantla from Rosebank thinks that you have got the answer. What is it? Good evening.
Evening, FATF.
Yes, do you know what it says, what it means?
Financial Action Task Force.
Excellent. Which European museum was hit with a $102 million jewelry heist earlier this week?
Laverne, Paris.
The Louvre in Paris, yes. It remains closed as police investigate a daring daylight robbery that saw thieves make off with priceless French crown jewels, and this all happened in broad daylight as well. Bash, American, Swiss, and Choreographed are retailers controlled by which blue chip company?
Louis Vuitton.
Thank you, Mantla. Thank you very much for your time. It is the TFG, the Fourie Group. And earlier this week, the Fourie Group saw its share price drop by over 10% following the release of a lackluster trade update for the first half of its 2026 financial year. That wraps up this hour. It's 7 o'clock and time for the news.